In today's video, we're going to look at 5 ways that rich people make money with debt. Hi everyone, my name is Helen. Welcome to my channel. In today's video, we're going to look at 5 ways that rich people make money with debt. The first way that rich people make money with debt is through real estate. Now, it's not a surprise that when you're looking at real estate investing, you are likely looking at taking out some kind of a mortgage. Mortgages are the typical way that most people will buy a house or any property. Rich people leverage their mortgage. That means that they are taking out a mortgage to buy a property, and they're using that property to, for example, rent it out. So they're making money by rent. They're making money through other means, not just using the real estate as a property to live in, but rather they buy real estate using a debt, usually a mortgage, and they are using that mortgage to allow them to rent it out. The rent itself will pay for the mortgage. It might even pay for any maintenance and other costs, as well as a little bit extra, depending on where they live and what the location is, and also how much their mortgage is. Although real estate does have benefits when it comes to making money, because you are making money on the property itself and you also have the possibility of rental income, you do have to keep in mind it does have some risk. Well, when you're looking at a rental property, there's always the possibility that you cannot get a tenant. That means that you'll be paying for that mortgage even if you do not have a tenant. So that is the risk that comes with leveraging and buying a property. Now, one thing that a lot of wealthy people do is they will buy a property that they intend to rent out, and if the interest rates on a mortgage drop, they'll actually refinance to get a lower interest rate as well. So then they are not paying as much in that mortgage. That's one of the ways that wealthy people will often use debt in order to build up their wealth. The second way that wealthy people will often make money using debt is that they simply do not take a salary. Now, since a lot of wealthy people are entrepreneurs and do own businesses, they don't take a salary. Instead, what they do is they use stocks in the company as their salary. So that reduces the amount of money that they're paying in taxes. Taxes are based on your income or your capital gains. So what wealthy people will do is they will basically take a portion of the overall company, so the stocks, and that will be how they get paid. They're not being paid in cash or salary in the same way that most people are. That's because they're an entrepreneur. However, the company itself is taking out debt in order to build products, market the business, and otherwise build up the company. So they use debt in a way to build the business, and then they take a salary through stocks, which means that they're only paying taxes when they have capital gains. They're only paying taxes if they sell off those stocks. So that's another one of the ways that wealthy people are able to use debt to make money. The third way that wealthy people are able to use debt to make money is through leveraged buyouts. Now, this is something that applies to entrepreneurs specifically because they take a loan to buy out another company even when they have the money available in their own bank account or in their company account. You saw this a lot with recent events because Elon Musk took out a loan in order to buy Twitter, even though he did have the money to buy it outright. The reason that wealthy people will do this is to limit the amount of risk that they are taking on their own shoulders. So instead of taking out personal cash from a bank and using that to buy out a different company, they're taking a portion of their cash and then they're taking a loan from a bank to pay off the whole thing. And in that way, if there is something that goes on in that company that makes the value of the company much lower that they were not aware of, they're only having a portion of the risk rather than the entire risk. That is one of the ways that they might use leverage or a loan in order to make money over the long term. Now, in this particular case, since it's specific to entrepreneurs, it's not something that you are likely to use yourself, but it is something to learn from when it comes to ways that you can really just kind of use debt to limit the amount of risk that you are taking personally. But it's particularly useful if you own a business, because in that way, you're taking the loan as part of the business rather than personally. The fourth way that rich people make money with debt is to use liquid assets as a debt and to put their personal wealth in property or non-liquid assets. What does this mean? Well, a lot of wealthy people will take out loans for business opportunities or for any kind of business deal that they're planning to do, but they won't use their personal money. Instead, their personal money is invested into property or other non-liquid assets. And in that way, they're able to limit the amount of risk to their personal wealth, and they're able to use that business loan to build up any kind of business opportunities. The way that they do that is they take the liquid money from a loan, typically cash, and they use that to buy something for their business or for an opportunity that they've seen. And then they will use new money from that business or opportunity that they earn from that to pay off the loan, rather than using their personal money. The fifth way that rich people use debt to make money is they actually inflate out their debt. What does that mean? Well, inflating out your debt means that you take a very low interest loan and you use that money to buy something that will have a higher return in the future. So, for example, you might use a very low interest loan like a mortgage to buy a property that in the future the worth or value of that property is much higher when compared to the amount of interest that you've paid. The reason that wealthy people are able to do this is because they are considered a low risk to the bank. So it is pretty similar to someone who has very high credit. Like if you have a very high credit score, you're also considered low risk to the bank. But when you have the cash to pay the loan in full at any time, the bank considers you very low risk. That means that they're willing to give you a much lower interest rate on average when compared to other people, because they know that you have the money to pay it back. The goal when you're looking at taking out a low interest loan in order to buy something like a property or in order to pay for something in a business is to make sure that the amount that you take out in the loan, the interest rate in the loan, is low enough that your inflation combined with any interest rate is lower than the amount that you intend to make or that you expect to make. That is how wealthy people will often inflate out their loans. So they're basically getting a low cost loan, maybe like 1 or 2%, but they expect to have a return of, let's say, 10 or 12%. That is the reason why they will take those loans. Now, they don't actually have to take the loans, but they take those loans in order to kind of mitigate the risk of inflation and also to reduce the risk of a business deal or a real estate deal. So if you like this video, please subscribe and I will see you in the next one.